A man sets out to draw the world. As the years go by, he peoples a space with images of provinces, kingdoms, mountains, bays, ships, islands, fishes, rooms, instruments, stars, horses, and individuals. A short time before he dies, he discovers that the patient labyrinth of lines traces the lineaments of his own face. This Borges quote frames the concept behind Geographical Imaginations, a radio program exploring what we call the geographies of everything and nothing. For us on the show, everything has a geography. Mountains, bays, ships, islands, and fishes. The connections we make and the imagination holding them together produces what Borges would have as our faces, maybe our own mental maps of the world. But for many, geography is just a subject in middle school, a course requiring the memorization of countries and capitals. For us, geography is a way of thinking. We seek connections and jump scales. We make monthly radio expeditions into the why of the where and let the stories unfold. Everyone is a geographer. Everyone can challenge and expand this imagination, this consciousness of how much space orders us and how much we order space, this awareness of why things are where they are and of the everything and nothing. We ask, are we cartographers of our own worlds? Broadcast from Radio Fabrik in Salzburg, Austria, Geographical Imaginations is a hybrid of journalism and research, social sciences and the arts. It's located somewhere between the poetic and the political, the academic and the everyday. We pursue a theme each month and make public a range of texts and voices. As an inquiry-based project, our explorations challenge our often taken for granted conceptualizations of space, place, region, and scale. We have 1 foot in the local and 1 foot in the global. Anything and everything that shapes our mental maps. The questions we ask are many, A through Z. During the show's first season, we covered a world-class bobsled event, joined a tour of Sound of Music sites, discussed why the little stories of a city are so important, and sat down with a German artist who wanted Salzburgers to ask their city a question on a postcard. What would you ask Lambertville or New Hope? We looked at how the circulation of the Salzburg panorama in the 19th century informed how the city was imagined by so many other Europeans. We investigated where Stalin and Lenin statues go when they are no longer wanted, and climbed up the sacred Untersberg mountain with an alpine shaman. In season 2, we ran with St. Nicholas and the Krampus, critiqued Vienna coffee houses, interviewed the only 2 Paraguayans living in Salzburg, looked at Heimat photography, and waited for the very same Borges on park benches in both Boston and Geneva. We deconstructed the map, explored the reach of Irish St. Brendan's Atlantic sailing narrative into Central Europe. We discussed how walking frames and changes the way we know cities, and proposed that each urban area may very well have its own rhythm, inviting would-be rhythm analysts along the way. In season 3, we took Psychogeography 101, played Trivial Pursuit, but only the blue questions, challenged the conventional world depiction by decentering its representation both on the paper map and in our minds, and looked at how the German language frames our understanding of the world. We described a through hike of the Appalachian Trail as a great American pilgrimage, learned to dance like the honeybees, reimagined the world as a village of 100 people, broke down the polarized perceptions Americans have of Cuba, and introduced a summer reading series where we read from a 19th century primary school geography textbook. In season 4, we were based in part out of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and uncovered the challenges facing one of the world's fastest growing cities, all without a master plan. We practiced some mockumentary-style reportage while on safari in Serengeti and walked out in low tide on the beaches of Zanzibar. We also went digging into the archive and analyzed J.K. Wright's concept of geosophy, or the study of geographical knowledge from any or all points of view. And I quote, taking into account not only geographers, but farmers and fishermen, business executives and poets, novelists and painters, Bedouins and Hottentots. From recent fieldwork on this crocodile-shaped island, we will broadcast 2 or 3 episodes in the coming months that put us in contact with a Cuba beyond the news filters to help us then round out our 4th season and get closer to our 50th episode. Enid Rosales, Tracy musician and key figure in the post-Buena Vista Social Club traditional music scene, invited us into her Havana home. We also sat down with Jose Poveda, a poet from eastern Cuba, who studied in Moscow and served as interpreter to Russian technical advisors on the island. Stay tuned. All in all, we speak with academics, artists, and everyday people whose work or ideas help us unpack this imagination of the world, at times personal, at times collective. We revisit the architecture of our thinking, our underlying assumptions, the connections we make, and the imaginations they ultimately produce. Maybe we take the notion of geographic literacy a step further by asking, how do I know this? Why is my world framed as such? Along these lines, I will start putting together an episode, and I excuse the language, on shithole countries. Where does this phrase come from? Is it really such a new thing and limited to just one person's opinion? Now I'm based in Newtown, PA. I want to explore the region and make more radio. Check us out. Check the show out on iTunes, our website. I'm Kevin. I'm always interested in episode ideas for collaborations. Thanks for coming. Thanks to Liz and Lauren. Thank you.